We recently attended the UK's biggest gaming expo, EGX, at the NEC in Birmingham. And during our time there, we got some time to play Starlink Battle. That one game that kept appearing at E3 and made all of us really go, huh? When we all realised it was a game where you had to get toys and put them all in your controller in a way that just felt a bit, well, stupid. Well, here's our impressions and our views of our time playing Starlink.
Basically, it starts out with you flying around space, and you have the ability to warp to distant planets where your objectives are. You can either fly around the planet or sort of land on the ground and kind of hover, fly around, and just freely explore, which I think is quite a nice little feature. You can either go in the air and skip over all the land, or go to the floor and fight the little enemies that are there. I mean, the game does seem to have a driven narrative. It does have the objectives in the distance of where to go, tell you what to do, so when you are exploring off on the edge, you kind of do feel that you're not really doing anything else and you're just missing the entire point. But the style is a bit cartoony like, it doesn't really have its own distinctive image, and it's neither impresses nor offends, so it just balances in the middle. The demo was a mission where you started off flying around and you went to some sort of towery thing where you fought a couple of robot enemies, you blew up some generators, you destroyed the whole tower thing, then you went to find the Arch Prime, this big spider boss thing that was crawling around the planes. And you essentially, when you get your ship, you can customize it completely. So you can choose your pilot, which you stick onto your controller first, then you can choose your ship, but you have two different styles that we had in the demo, and you can stick them on top of your pilot, and then it built around, on the screen it built around what you were doing there. And you had a selection of different weapons which you could mix and match, stick on the wings of the ship, and away you go. I think I ended up using an ice barrage and a siege rocket, which were pretty effective.
I mean, you think it's kind of actually maybe slightly weird to have this massive toy on top of your controller? Like, when I first looked at the controller, I thought, how do I pick this up? Is it going to feel weird? But it actually isn't that intrusive. The ship just sort of sits there, and it actually is quite satisfying to pop the weapons on for the first time, and they instantly pop up on the screen, and it kind of breaks down what the weapon is and how it looks, and that's actually pretty cool. But then when you actually get behind the ship and start flying it around, it's very much arcadey. This really feels like, I feel like the toys point in the direction that it's at a younger demographic, and the way it feels definitely agrees with that. It's very arcadey controls, very easy to get your hands over, but also very well polished. This is coming from a big AAA studio, so they definitely know what they're doing. There's some weird choices though in the way it feels. Like, you can't fly backwards. There's no kind of reverse thrust, which is super odd. At one point I was sort of just bumping into an enemy because I didn't know how to get away from it. And then same goes for the difficulty level. This is very much a game that anyone could pick up and play. So some of the weapons have auto targets, and if you set up with a double kind of both your weapons auto targeting, you can literally just strafe around in circles, aiming at the auto aims as well at the weak points of the bosses, and then just fire, and take the big boss down without too much challenge. But again, you can, I guess, make it more difficult for yourself by choosing some of the other weapon variations, and it does feel nice and looks very nice. But definitely an arcadey, simple approach to the gameplay.
Parts of it were pretty fun. Like, I found that the different weapons seemed to make for quite a varied experience. Like the fact you could, there were some enemies that were fire based, and you can sort of put on the ice thing to shoot against them. And yeah, it seemed to be a few nice choices there and a nice way to vary it up. I found that part of it pretty fun, but I think, as Paddy said, I found it to be a bit arcadey at times, and the fact is, when you've got an arcadey a game doing this, and pretty much all that we experienced when we were playing it was just turning up to places and shooting things, whereas we didn't really get to see much of sort of what the story is or how it's delivered to you. But especially due to the fact that obviously you can switch out different protagonists and stuff. The toys themselves, it's kind of hard to say whether you hate it or you think it's kind of sort of a genius. Obviously you realise there's quite a huge the success out there with Skylanders, and obviously there's other ones out there that haven't done so well, which I think Disney like Infinity closed down about a year or so. And Starlink, I think actually it does something that I didn't expect it to do, where it's sort of like I didn't realise I had this childlike fantasy of, you know, pulling apart different parts of a ship and pulling it all back together. Whereas I suppose when you were a kid and you did that and you build like your little Lego, and then you went flying around the front room going whoosh and all that kind of stuff, and having a really good time with it. Whereas I think now be able to do that and then actually plug that into your controller and have that transported into the TV screen in front of you so you can play with it, it's actually something that I didn't think would be cool, but actually does feel pretty cool in a kind of sort of a nostalgic way. But whether or not it will manage to capitalise on a market that seems to be dying down, I'm not so sure.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Yeah, I mean, it's £65 for a physical starter price. I mean, that's the physical game copy, and I think you get some sort of combination of pilot and ship, but I'm not entirely sure. But £60 for the virtual copy. So I mean, it's pretty expensive in terms of a AAA game. And then it's another £5 to £15 for extra pilots, ships, and weapons that you can't unlock within the game. So we think it's a bit cheeky for them to have such a high starting price and then to sell on the extra like attachments, kind of if you want to play with different ships and weapons at such a cost. But for a game that's not really completely captured us, I think they're asking a lot of money for something that can be done a lot less. But I think if I'm right in saying that there are virtual copies of these ships themselves, so you don't need to get all bogged down with all the bits and pieces that you have. Game will be released around the 16th of October 2018, so in a few weeks, for the Xbox One, PS4 and Switch, if you do want to pick it up when it's released.
And if you like this video, then you can keep an eye out for a whole bunch more impression videos that we're doing. Ooh, we played quite a few games at EGX, which is really cool. Assassin's Creed is already out there, and we've got some more coming for you pretty soon. I played Dreams, which I really enjoyed, and I played The Division 2. He got a big old key for that one, which was fun. And we had a whole bunch of other nerdy stuff, I think. Rob played some Total War. That's all coming to the channel pretty soon, which we're really excited to get to you guys. And if you like this video, then it'd be really awesome if you could subscribe. We're still just a teeny tiny channel, and we're trying to get as much stuff out there as we can for you, and really appreciate it if you could subscribe and share this video with your friends if you like it. And also definitely jump on our Discord channel if you want to spend more time chatting to us. We are scarily lovely people, maybe, and you can talk to us on our Discord, and the link will be in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again very soon.
Take that! We've tracked some outlaws to their hideout. Your map's been updated.